Welcome back, farmers. I have a great one planned today. We're going to be taking a look at the garden. It is late August and it seems like the summer has just flown by. So let's take a look at some of the plants that are out there and compare them to what they looked like at the beginning of the summer. Some of these have had such a drastic change. It's hard to believe that they were even the size that they were at the beginning of the summer, because it's so crazy how big they've gotten and how productive they've been as the summer has went on. Before we even go inside the garden, let's take a look along the fence here. I planted some things up close to it, some vining plants, so that way they would latch on and shoot off some cucumbers and acorn squash. And as you can tell, we have a little baby acorn squash right here, which is doing very well. And I've recorded this right after I picked some, but we even have some baby cucumbers growing on the fence as well, so that's really cool. I just picked a big one off. I should have left it on here for the video, but I decided not to. My bad. So back to the acorn squash. I have a ton of acorn squash. I've harvested one already, but let's go around the garden and count how many are growing and are going to be ready here in the next few weeks. So there's two right there. This one's going to take a little bit longer, but there's another one. We have one down here and one down here. And if we walk through this jungle throughout here, and we come to the other side of the garden, we have one right there, one right there, another down here, one right here, another one right here, and another one back in there. When I edit this video, I'll go through and count, but I'm excited about those because acorn squash is one of my favorite plants that I get from the garden. They just taste so good. So I'm gonna go through and count how many there are and put a little counter as I show you the ones that are growing in here. So other than the acorn squash, we have some other vining plants that are doing well, and I'm talking about watermelons. So let's go look at those. They're little babies right now, and if you watch my TikToks, I already harvested one. And it was kind of funny because I almost let it get too ripe, and for some reason I decided to pick it and it went well. So let's go look at those other watermelon because they're really cool when they're little as well. A lemon drop watermelon right here. Two yellow meat watermelons. So here we have a baby lemon drop watermelon. These things don't get very big, and these are one of the ones that I've already harvested. In my opinion, they're good, but they have too many seeds, and I don't know if I'm going to grow this variety again. It was really cool because it's bright yellow, the inside is bright yellow, and it does taste good, but the seeds are a little inconvenient, and that's not something I considered before I decided to grow it this summer. Now right next to it, we have a red meat watermelon. And I can't remember if it has seeds or not, but I assume that it does since it is a heirloom variety. So we actually have two of these growing, and one's over on this side of the garden, and I will walk over and show you the other one. It decided to rest on top of the sweet potato bags, which are not doing well, but that's okay because if you zoom in here, we have another watermelon, and I'm very excited to see how these taste because I have not harvested one of these yet this year. Now I'm kind of known for growing peppers, and all of the peppers that I've grown this year have actually been doing pretty well. I haven't harvested too many because they just take so long to ripen, and I don't want to pick unripe peppers because they just don't taste as good if they're not ripe, unless they're banana peppers or jalapenos, and maybe some bell peppers, but other than that, the other varieties I'm growing need to stay on the plant as long as possible. So I'm going to go through and show you some of the ones that are doing really well. I'll be adding clips along the way to show what they looked like at the beginning of the summer. So without further ado, let's look at those. So first, let's start off with the bell peppers. This is a golden bell, and I do anticipate growing this until it turns golden. But right now, it is growing really well. It has two big ones on here, and they're gonna probably get a little bigger before they ripen. So that's exciting, but there's one of them. And here is the other. So yeah, just your standard bell pepper. It'll turn golden hopefully by the time it gets cold out, and I'm really excited to harvest this when it does turn gold. So on to the jalapenos. These things are doing really well, just like the bell pepper. They also have not turned orange yet. They're the orange variety, the orange spice variety from Baker's Creek. So I expect these to turn orange, and I will be waiting on them to turn orange before I pick them as well. I really want to make a cool hot sauce with some orange and red peppers, and I think they're all going to be annuums this year. So we're talking KS white Thai and jalapenos to make a salsa. So I'm excited about that. Another pepper variety that is doing fantastic is the banana pepper. These are just your normal banana peppers, and I just love the taste of them when they're put on pizza or if you pickle them. There's so many uses for a good banana pepper, and this plant is growing tons. If you look at this one right here, they're just huge. So I'm gonna wait for these to get a little bit darker before I pull them off the vine, and I'm just overall excited with how it's producing as well. So on to the elephant jalapeno. This one right here is growing just the way I expected them to, with all of those nice little stretch marks. I made a video about these not too long ago, and let me see if I can find another one that looks just like it. I don't know how stable this plant is, because some of them have very different shapes and sizes. Like this one's decided not to have the stretch marks, but this one has a bunch of them. So I'm definitely going to save seeds from these and send them to you guys, because I think everybody should be able to grow this type of jalapeno if they want to. Now on to the hydroponic plants. This one right here has a bunch of peppers on it. There's even a few ripe ones down there, and I'll be excited to pick those today because they are really good. This is just a regular Thai chili, so nothing too crazy, but it is growing hydroponically. As you can see, it's in that bucket right there. The weeds have kind of grown around it, but overall, this thing is producing a bunch of peppers. Another pepper plant that's doing really well is my habanata plant. As you can tell, it is very prolific, and there's a ton of peppers on here as well. There's one orange one on here. Oh, there it is. Right down there. You can probably barely see it, but that's what they're supposed to look like. All of these still need to ripen as well. But as you can tell, there's a ton of them on there, and I'm very excited about it. Another plant that I'm just super excited about that's doing well is the sweet bonnet plant that I had in the grow tent for the longest time. If you look down here, it's even got a few ripe ones. There's a couple red ones on there. I should probably harvest those today before they go bad. But this plant was in the grow tent last Thanksgiving, so I decided to plant it outside in the garden this year, and it took off. So I'm really excited about that. We have a bunch of green ones that haven't ripened yet, but we're in the process of it, and hopefully we get a bunch of these as well. Here's the dreamcatcher, and it has purple leaves, and both of them germinated and they're doing really well, so I'm just going to grow both of them. I'm going to put these in a big pot because I really think that the peppers that these grow are really cool, and they will give off like these purple variegated vibes all summer. Oh yeah, one of the other plants that I already forgot about is this dreamcatcher pepper. This dreamcatcher pepper is probably one of the cooler ones I'm growing in the garden, so I can't believe I forgot. If I zoom in here, it has these beautiful purple peppers with purple foliage. And this one down here is the oldest one, and as you can see, it's starting to turn red. But all of these will turn red eventually, but for now they're purple, and they are so pretty. This plant I'm super excited about as well. This KS white Thai was also in the grow tent, and I completely cut it back and put it out in the garden, and it's actually coming back really well, just as much as the sweet bonnet. This pepper is really taking off, and I could see it producing quite a few peppers by the end of the summer. And last but not least, the pepper that I love growing, the KS white Thai. Just look how beautiful these things are. It's an ornamental pepper, but this is just a really cool pepper to grow. They just grow in these bunches, and they turn purple before they turn red. So there's another one, a little bunch of them. And they grow like this all over the plant. There's so many. You can see down there. There's tons of peppers. It's really pretty, and it tastes good enough to grow. So this one I'm excited for. I'm probably going to cut this back again and put it back in the grow tent, because this one also started in the grow tent back in Thanksgiving. Now that's it for peppers. We're going to talk about probably the most annoying plant, because it produces so much, and you would think, oh, if it produces so much, how is that annoying? Well, it produces so much that you can't even keep up with it. We have them stashed inside the house because of how many it produces on a weekly basis. According to my notes, we have a squash right here. So I'm going to show you the long neck squash plant because it is producing like crazy and it has all summer. There's one right there that I haven't even harvested. There's another one down there. And that's all after I've harvested like 3 huge ones today. It's hard to understand how many squash this thing will produce in a given summer. It is insane, and I'll definitely be growing it next year because they are delicious. But at the end of the day, it gets annoying coming out here and picking them because every single day you could come out here and get a new one. So if you want something very prolific and you want to grow a lot of squash, long neck squash is the one to go with. So moving on from the squash, we have sweet potatoes, and they are struggling. I don't know how I'm so bad at growing sweet potatoes. You literally just have to plant them and take care of them just a little bit and you'll get sweet potatoes. I don't know what I did wrong, but the first bag I harvested, barely any, and these plants are all dying. I don't know if it's getting too cold at night or what, but I don't know how many sweet potatoes we're going to get this year, which is kind of sad because this variety is really cool and I was really excited about getting a bunch, but sometimes these things happen. And next year I'm definitely going to be planting them in the ground using the Ruth Stout method. I will not be growing them in grow bags, that's for sure. So don't grow sweet potatoes in grow bags unless they're really big and you can take care of them every single day. So I made a video in the beginning of July, and it was plants that you could still start in July and be able to harvest by the end of the year. And I was right about the green beans. You can plant these in the middle of July, late July, and by the end of August you will be able to harvest. This plant's doing really well, and I have a bunch of green beans on here that I've been able to harvest. So green beans will be something that I really take seriously next year because these things are delicious. And last but not least, we have the tomatoes. The tomatoes have been a mess since the beginning of the summer, and I did a terrible job planning where they needed to go. So I'm gonna take the oh my goodness, look at that. Huh, you don't see that every day. Look, there's like 5 of them. There's 2 little babies over there too. Well, that's adorable. So here's what the tomatoes are looking like. It's just a big jungle full of ones that are barely producing, and when they do, they split open before I can get out here. It's just a pain, and they're just so hard to harvest when I planted them this way because I don't want to step over here because I forgot to show these in the last clip, but there's 2 more acorn squash right here, and I really don't want to step on them or the vine when I go to harvest. So next year I'm gonna have to grow these vertically. See, we got red bunches all over the place, and I do go through and get as many as I can, but it is a pain, and next year we're gonna do it a little bit differently. So yeah, that's what the garden's looking like, and hopefully you guys stuck around to see everything and how it's changed throughout the summer. It's crazy to look back and see that some of the plants, you know, they were in bare soil. I didn't even have mulch down yet, and now they're producing a bunch of fruits, whatever it is, the watermelon, squash, peppers. It's really cool to see, and hopefully you enjoyed seeing what the garden looked like back at the beginning of summer versus what it did now. So I think that'll be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, do that, because if you follow me on Instagram, I will send you a P.O. box number, and if you send me a self-addressed envelope, I will send you free pepper seeds. It's the KS White Tie, the ones I literally showed you in the video. So if you want some of those, I have a bunch of seeds banked up, and they do germinate because I've been growing some inside. I'll be showing you guys that here soon. But if you want those seeds, DM me on Instagram after following, of course. And if you haven't followed me on TikTok, do that, because I have 90.5K followers on TikTok, and I'm really trying to hit 100K. I know it's been at that 90.5 number for quite a while, and, you know, I need to post more. So go follow me on there if you haven't done that. Last but not least, like and subscribe because I love making this content for you guys. I know I missed one upload here this last Thursday, and I couldn't believe that I let that happen. I'm not going to try to ever let that happen again because I know that there are some of you that enjoy my videos, and I enjoy making them for you. So please subscribe, drop a like, and I hope your plants are growing just as well as mine. See ya.